Hey, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with John. Looking forward to talking with Scott Silverman. Scott, this has been a five-part, really eye-opening week of coffee with you. I appreciate you getting up early. I know you're on California time. We've talked about a lot of things, but something that resonated with me, which I think resonates with a lot of people in general, is asking for help. And you've been generous, 619-993-2738 is your phone number that you give out on every interview all over the country, every podcast, news, everything you're on. But my question today is, we've talked about a lot. You're the author of the book, The Opioid Epidemic, to remind people what you don't know will destroy your family and your life. You're crisiscoach.com. You are a family navigator. You are a crisis coach. You are somebody who is there to help people who has been through recovery. And so my question to you today is, when do people ask for help? When is the right time? I feel like this is something, being a father, where you may be, and my children are not in this situation, but I would imagine that you see a sign and you just kind of brush it off to, normal behavior. When do you call for help or just call for a question?
Well, good morning, John. And
Morning.
It is coffee with you. The difference between you and me is you're having coffee. It's too early. I cannot wake up my coffee maker.
You did yesterday, though. You did yesterday, yeah.
I did yesterday, and I'm so out of sorts now. I don't know what planet I'm on. But this is such an important issue that what I've learned is this week, getting up early, I now have an additional 3 hours a day to help people. But to answer your question directly, when is a good time to call? There is no bad time. There is no bad time. If you're asking yourself a question, if you're touching on this, the front page of our op-ed this morning, it talks about the opioid overdose increase in San Diego. We're a city of over 3 million people. We have families, we have children here. We're well mixed, very diverse, a military town, but border town. And we're pretty smart, we think, but this is going on. So to not make a phone call, in my opinion, is 100 times worse than making the phone call. Even if you're not sure what to say, make a phone call, ask for help, get the questions out there. Don't wait for something to erupt. I know you mentioned a couple times this week, you have 2 young children, young in their early teens. We just lost a 13-year-old in our community. I say we because I'm impacted by it. It was an accidental overdose from everything that I've heard so far. So was that preventable? God, I would hope to think so. Could the parent have made a phone call? Not sure, but to not make the phone call, one has to live with that forever. So why not make the call anytime?
Yeah. I recently heard of a story here locally of two young teenagers were doing cocaine and they died within minutes. It turns out it had fentanyl in it, and this is such a dangerous time right now. And so talk to the teenagers out there, right? There's more than teenagers. Talk to anybody out there, but talk to the people before they are about to kind of just dive into something that they don't know, what it is, where it came from. They're not thinking about the consequences. Just kind of get into that piece.
Imagine your local news media talks about, some sort of lettuce that was in your store that you go to frequently was somehow contaminated in the field. You wouldn't hesitate for a second to avoid lettuce for a couple of days.
Yeah.
We're talking about, and this isn't just medication, this is poison. So when you're at an event or you're with other people or you're with your friends and something becomes part of the conversation that gets set on the table in front of you, if you're not sure what it is, think of it as something that the risk you might be taking is taking your own life or watching your own friend potentially die. Because overdoses from fentanyl, which is usually the drug that's killing most people in opioids today, is something that's poison. It's not a drug anymore. It's poison because the percentage of what you might be taking is a death threat. and it will become one. It is a warrant for your death. Think of an assassinator or a sniper sitting on a building, and they're aiming right at you. Put that thought in your head for a second. Don't take that pill. You know what? I don't normally like to say that, but this week we've talked a lot about people expiring, and I got to tell you, my heart hurts thinking about the level of death that's happening right now over something that's killing people. And if I could find a way to talk to the manufacturers, I'd really hold them accountable, because it's not a fun drug. It's not like, an escape. It's a death warrant. That's what it is.
Well, there's certain things we can control and there's certain things we cannot control. I think what we can't control, and what I'm hearing from you all week, is we can control the conversations we have with our children, our friends, our family, and we can raise the level of consciousness. And your book, The Opioid Epidemic, I'm just going to show it here on the screen, is a great tool, not only to read, but to educate yourself, raise awareness, raise consciousness, so you can have those conversations and just be thinking at a higher level. And for those who want to reach out to you, Scott, who are in a situation, whether it be now or later, the beautiful part about podcasts is this lives on forever. And so when anybody listens to this and they need you for anything, whether it's a question, how can they connect with you?
You have the number, John. I give it out all the time. Maybe your voice will tickle somebody differently. So I'm going to ask you to share the number.
You got it. 1-619-993-2738. That's 1-619-993-2738. I've said this throughout the week. This is a business podcast, but this is serious business, the opioid epidemic. My wife and I were in New England a few years ago, and when we were in Plymouth, every house was for sale along the water. And when we went to the Dunkin' Donuts, we asked them why, and they said because somebody's dying every single day from the opioid epidemic. And the numbers are staggering, and I appreciate all the work that you do. I know you are out there and you are talking to anybody you can to try to make a difference, to save lives. And I appreciate it deeply. And thank you for the soul work that you are doing. And I encourage everybody, again, I'll give your number again, 619-993-2738. And thank you for taking time all week and waking up really early to talk about your book, but most importantly, how you can help people. So thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Hey, by the way, happy Father's Day.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you too. Happy Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Thanks so much.
Let that be a day when you're together as a family. Maybe start a conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe start a conversation this Father's Day, and be around forever to watch your dad and have your dad watch you and your grandkids potentially grow up without a loss.
Yeah, keep the lineage going. I appreciate it. Well said. Thanks, Scott.